Hello, coolers, and welcome back to Viva Barca. Welcome to another interesting episode where we are going to be discussing on the latest stories. We start with Frenkie de Jong, as it has been reported that Barca are not completely ruling out the possibility of selling the 75 million euro rated superstar, despite reassuring statements. We are going to be discussing on that as we progress. Then, secondly, talking about Eric Garcia, as it has been reported that the Barca defender is open to leaving the club this summer, as Javi have made it clear that he does not see him as part of his plans next season. We are also going to be discussing on that. So, guys, as we get right into the full stories, please do ensure to subscribe if you haven't. Turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. Given Barcelona's current situation, they are keen on offloading players in the coming days so as to improve their financial fair play situation by reducing the salary mass and generating revenue. Players returning from loan and some of the stars that are not a big part of Xavi's plans have been put up for sale. You know, um, at the same time, there are some clubs or there are some who are regarded as untouchables. As per multiple reports, midfield mainstay Frenkie de Jong is one of those players who are counted as an untouchable for whom no offers would be entertained. Despite that, journalist Ashraf Ben Ayad is reporting that Barcelona are not ruling out the possibility of selling de Jong, even though there have been reassuring statements coming forth from the club. This update comes after club president Joan Laporta confirmed that the club had an offer of 100 million euros from for the Netherlands international last summer, but decided against the sale. He said, we had an offer of 100 million euros for Frenkie de Jong, and we were right not to accept it. We have received offers for Pedri, Ansu Fati, Christensen, Frenkie de Jong, and Araujo, but we think they have to continue. They are the present as well as they are the future of the club, he said. However, it must be remembered that multiple reliable sources have reported that Barcelona had agreed to sell Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United last summer, and the move did not go through only because the player dug his heel and refused to leave. And it appears that despite what the president says, the possibility of Frenkie de Jong being sold if a special offer were to come along is not entirely ruled out. Frenkie de Jong continues to attract interest from Manchester United, while Bayern Munich are also said to be looking at him as an option. As per Gerard Romero, though, the Young still does not want to leave Barcelona and has told Xavi the same already. Like last summer, it is expected that the Dutchman, with a market value of 75 million euros, will once again reject any advances from elsewhere, so an exit will be off the table despite Ben Aya suggesting that the club are not rolling out his sale. Of course, Frankie de Jong has been an important player for us, and rumors don't continue. Rumors have failed to cease as to the player potentially being sold if a big offer comes along. We quite remember last season it was all about Frankie de Jong saga, as United had already come to an agreement with Barcelona over the sale of Frankie de Jong for 85 million euros, but the player dug his heel that he won't leave. And we know Barca are going through a lot financially, and there is that temptation as well of Barca receiving such an offer, because last season it was all about the temptation of the offer that Man United made, that Barca already rushed to an agreement with the English Giants in order to sell Frankie, but the player had to refuse. We know Frankie de Jong have always been an important player in the team, and I do believe that even such an amount like 85 to 100 million comes for Frankie, Barcelona will be so tempted to sell, considering that the club are going through a lot financially. Registration of players isn't even guaranteed by the board to new players, as well as signing new players hasn't been easy, as Barca have seen themselves, disappointed in many transfer pursuits this summer, especially in their bid to replace Busquets. It have always been a big failure from one player to another, and it hasn't been easy. And of course, Barcelona are facing a lot. Despite winning La Liga, despite winning the Spanish Super Cup, so things are still very, very tough on the side of Barcelona, who continues to look for money in order to finalize deals that are very important to them. Frenkie de Jong, who we have been seeing as an untouchable for quite some time and one of the most valuable members of the squad since his arrival from Ajax, Barcelona are still tempted. Let's forget about what Laporta always say in his press conferences. He always says something and he means something else. I don't think we should always go by the words of this president because sometimes he's a politician. Normally he is a politician, so there are some words that when he speaks, don't take it 100%. You can take it 90%, but I don't think we can take it 100% because he also emphasized last week that players like Frankie de Jong are untouchable, and last year there was an offer from about 100 million for him, but Barca refused. It's a lie. I'm sorry to say this, but United even came with 85 million and Barca accepted. Fabrizio Romano himself stated that it was 85 million and Barca had already come to an agreement to sell Frankie de Jong, only for the player to say, no way, I'm not leaving this club. But now we see the president talking as if they refuse 100 million for Frankie, which I don't believe. Then moving on to the next story of discussion, as reported by Sport recently, Eric Garcia is most likely to leave Barca for Real Betis this summer. The report states that both Betis and Barca share great working relationship, and by the recent appointment of Ramon Planes as director at the Benito Villamarin Stadium only strengthened the ties between the clubs. At the moment, the two teams are reportedly in talks over a loan deal for Nico Gonzalez, and there are high chances that Garcia might accompany him since he knows that getting regular game time next season will be quite difficult at Barca, considering that the competition at the centre back is really tight, especially after Inigo Martinez have joined. Garcia arrived at Barca the summer of 2021. During its initial days, he remained an unassailable starter for Ronald Koeman, but lost his position since Xavi came in the picture. Now, his performances have as a makeshift defensive midfielder were impressive, but the player does not want to waste more time being a squad player. As far as Real Betis is concerned, Garcia's option was brought to them by Ramon Planes, who got him to Barca during his time at Barca. The sporting director now wants to strengthen Manuel Pellegrini roster, and for that to, initial loan move with the purchase option is being discussed by the teams. Now, if Garcia moves, Barca might get a chance to sign a new right back. This is because Umtiti had already been released, while Lenglet is on the verge of a move to Tottenham on a permanent transfer. So, guys, with that, we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time. Bye bye.